The cold darkness of space stretched endlessly in every direction. Stars glittered like tiny gems, and distant nebulae painted streaks of color across the void. Among the stars, a massive alien fleet moved silently, gliding through the emptiness with precision. At the head of this fleet, aboard the flagship Oblivion, sat General Zarkon, one of the most feared commanders in the galaxy. He had led countless campaigns, conquered dozens of worlds, and never known defeat, or so he believed. Zarkon's eyes were sharp, glowing faintly with an alien hue as he scanned the holographic displays before him. A planet rotated slowly in the distance, a blue and green marble suspended against the blackness. "This is it," he said in his deep, commanding voice echoing through the bridge. "The humans' homeworld. Weak, primitive, unprepared. It will fall quickly. Send the scouts. I want a full report before we land." The crew responded instantly, sending out sleek, fast ships that darted toward the planet like metal arrows. Zarkon leaned forward, his long fingers tapping the edge of the console. Humans. He had heard of them before, reports from spies and previous encounters with other species, but none had truly prepared him for what he was about to see. "I expect no surprises," he muttered, though a tiny flicker of curiosity crossed his expression. The scout ships disappeared into the planet's atmosphere, tiny specks against the vast blue. Moments later, transmissions returned, showing images of human settlements, cities with tall buildings, streets bustling with life, and armies training in organized formations. Zarkon's lip curled in a disdainful sneer. Primitive, how laughable, he thought. Their technology seemed basic, even crude, compared to the alien armada. But something in their movements caught his attention. They were precise, coordinated, alert. "General," said his lieutenant, a smaller, wiry alien named Creel, "scouts report unusual resistance. Human weapons seem weak, but their tactics, they are different. Adaptive, fast. They respond immediately to every move we make." Zarkon raised an eyebrow, a rare expression on his usually stoic face. "Adaptive? We will see how long that lasts. Humans are weak. They lack the strength and technology to face our forces. Prepare the landing squads. The time for talk is over." The alien fleet descended toward the planet with terrifying speed. Massive warships cut through the atmosphere, casting shadows over forests, rivers, and cities. Humans in the cities looked up, eyes wide with fear and determination. Sirens wailed, and alarms echoed as soldiers hurried to their posts. Civilians ran to shelters while some braved the streets carrying weapons and supplies. Zarkon watched from above, confident. He had conquered worlds with defenses far stronger than this. Humans in his eyes were no different from the countless species he had defeated. Yet, as he observed the first scout drones being destroyed not by alien fire but by small, clever devices that humans had hidden among the trees and rocks, he felt a strange tug of unease. "What?" he whispered, leaning closer. A drone had been hit by a simple-looking projectile, but the effect was devastating. The drone exploded, sending pieces of metal scattering through the air. Another drone fell shortly after, its sensors scrambled by a human-devised device. Creel noticed his commander's hesitation. "Sir, our drones are being neutralized." "The humans are using traps." Zarkon's eyes narrowed. "Traps? Simple humans cannot hope to challenge us. Yet, these are not ordinary traps. They anticipate our movements. Study this. I want to understand how such weak creatures can act with such foresight." As the fleet prepared to deploy troops, humans on the ground were already organizing. Captain Alara, a young and fearless human leader, moved swiftly among her soldiers. "Positions, stay low. Use the terrain. Remember, we fight for our homes," she shouted. Her voice was calm yet filled with authority, giving strength to everyone who heard it. Soldiers ducked behind trees, rocks, and buildings, setting up simple but effective defenses. They fired with precision, aimed carefully, and moved quickly to unexpected positions. Despite their lack of advanced weapons, humans worked together like a single fluid organism. Zarkon watched as his first wave of troops touched the ground. The aliens moved with mechanical precision, their armor gleaming under the planet's sun. They expected immediate surrender. What they received instead was chaos. Small groups of humans appeared where they were not expected, firing makeshift weapons with deadly accuracy. Explosions rocked the battlefield as aliens fell one by one, unable to adapt fast enough. For the first time in decades, Zarkon felt a flicker of doubt. These humans, he thought, they fight differently. They do not fear death. They do not hesitate, and they are not afraid of us. A small human squad, no more than 5 in number, moved across an open field with astonishing courage. They dodged energy blasts, fired back with precise aim, and used the environment to their advantage. One human, carrying nothing but a simple device, managed to disable an alien artillery unit, causing it to self-destruct. Zarkon's jaw tightened. He had never seen anything like it. What are these creatures? He muttered under his breath. His voice carried a mix of confusion and disbelief. Creel looked at him nervously. Sir, they are human, he said cautiously, but they are unlike anything we have faced. They adapt faster than our calculations predicted. They do not fear us. Zarkon rose from his seat, his long cloak trailing behind him. Prepare the secondary wave. We will crush them before they grow stronger. I will not be humiliated by a primitive species. Even as he spoke, the humans continued to resist with unwavering determination. Soldiers worked together, covering each other's movements, setting traps, and surprising the alien forces at every turn. Civilians helped where they could, moving supplies, warning soldiers of ambushes, and reinforcing weak points. Humans showed a kind of bravery that Zarkon had never truly understood. As night fell, the battle raged on. Fires burned across forests and cities, lighting up the darkness. The alien troops, despite their advanced technology, found themselves frustrated and disoriented. Human ingenuity, courage, and teamwork created obstacles that no algorithm could predict. Zarkon retreated to the command deck, watching the reports come in. He rubbed his chin, a rare gesture of uncertainty. I have fought countless species, he said slowly, but never one like this. They are fearless. They are clever, they are beasts, Creel frowned. Sir, you mean they are dangerous, yes, but… No, Zarkon interrupted sharply. I mean exactly what I said. Beasts. Not in mindless aggression, but in the way they fight, adapt, and survive against impossible odds. These humans, they are unlike anything the galaxy has seen. The fleet hovered above the planet, uncertain for the first time. Orders were delayed as Zarkon's mind churned. He had faced great warriors, brilliant tacticians, and powerful armies, but nothing like this. Humans were small, fragile, and technologically inferior, yet they moved with courage and intelligence that defied logic. Captain Alara, unaware of the alien general observing her from above, rallied her troops. Hold the line. We fight for our families, our homes, and our planet. Remember, every move counts. Every action matters. Her words carried through the battlefield, inspiring humans to greater feats. They worked together, improvising constantly, turning even their weaknesses into strengths. Zarkon could not tear his eyes away. Every failed alien maneuver, every unexpected human counterattack made him freeze, think, and reconsider what he believed about the universe. By the end of the night, the first alien wave had been largely repelled. Scattered units retreated to the ships, wounded and demoralized. Humans stood amidst the smoke and fire, exhausted but unbroken, tending to their wounded, fortifying their positions and preparing for the next wave. Zarkon sat in silence, staring at the reports flashing across his screen. For the first time in his long career, he felt fear, not for his life but for his pride, his beliefs, and his understanding of strength. These humans, he thought, gripping the edge of the console, they are not ordinary, they are something else entirely. And in that moment, a single thought echoed in his mind. What are these human beasts? The fleet above waited for orders, but Zarkon could not speak. The humans had changed everything he thought he knew about war, strength, and courage. The battle had only begun, yet already the seeds of doubt had been planted deep in the mind of the galaxy's most feared general. The stage was set. The humans had proven they could fight, survive, and adapt. And Zarkon, frozen in fear, awed and uncertain, would have to face a truth he had never imagined. Humans were not to be underestimated. Not now, not ever. Part 2. The First Encounter. The morning sun rose slowly over the horizon, painting the human cities in golden light. Smoke from the previous night's battle still lingered in the air, twisting and curling like restless spirits. Captain Alara moved through the streets with her soldiers, checking their positions and encouraging civilians. Her calm presence reassured everyone around her, even as the alien threat loomed overhead. Above the planet, the alien fleet hovered silently. General Zarkon stood at the front of the command deck, his hands clasped behind his back. His eyes were sharp, studying every movement on the surface below. The humans had surprised him once, and he would not let it happen again. He would crush them, he vowed, but a part of him, the smallest, quietest part, lingered on the memory of that first human attack, the one that had destroyed his scout drones with simple, clever devices. "Prepare the ground forces," Zarkon commanded, his voice cold and firm. "This time we land in full strength, no mercy, no mistakes." Creel, his trusted lieutenant, hesitated. "Sir, the humans are not ordinary. They are weak," Zarkon snapped, "and they will fall. That is all that matters." But even as he spoke, a flicker of doubt passed over his alien features. The first wave of alien troops descended. Massive armored suits glinted in the sunlight, each one a fortress on legs. Advanced weapons hummed and clicked as they prepared to fire. Zarkon watched closely, expecting panic and surrender from the humans. He was wrong. On the ground, humans moved with precision, setting up barricades and traps almost instinctively. Captain Alara guided them from position to position, her voice carrying commands clearly and calmly. "Cover the streets. Use the high ground. Watch for ambushes." A group of humans darted between buildings, carrying crates of simple but effective weapons. They rigged explosives on narrow alleyways, using the terrain to their advantage. A single misstep by the aliens could trigger disaster, and it did. One of Zarkon's troops advanced carelessly, stepping into a narrow alley. A human soldier crouched behind a wall, pressed a small button on a device no larger than a book. An explosion rocked the alley, sending metal fragments flying. Several aliens fell instantly, and the rest stumbled backward, unsure of how to respond. Zarkon's jaw tightened. "How?" he demanded. "These humans, they anticipate us. Every move we make, they are ready." "They are clever, sir," Creel said cautiously. "More clever than any species we have encountered." Zarkon did not answer immediately. He turned away from the view screen and paced the command deck, his mind racing. He had faced many opponents, some strong, some cunning, but never creatures who combined both courage and intelligence so naturally. Back on the planet, humans continued to surprise the aliens. Small squads moved silently through forests and across fields. Appearing where the aliens least expected them, they used simple traps, misdirection, and their environment to great effect. Even though their weapons were inferior, their strategy was flawless. Captain Alara noticed a group of alien soldiers trying to flank their position. "Split into teams," she shouted. "One team distracts, the others move behind them." The plan worked perfectly. Humans appeared from unexpected directions, firing at the aliens from the side and rear. The aliens were caught off guard, their superior technology failing to compensate for human creativity. One alien unit, massive and heavily armored, became trapped in a canyon. Humans pushed rocks and logs, creating obstacles the aliens could not remove. They were forced to retreat. Above the battlefield, Zarkon could hardly believe what he was seeing. His troops, trained to perfection and equipped with advanced weaponry, were being outmaneuvered by humans. "Impossible," he growled. This should not happen. Even the civilians played a part. Farmers, laborers, and children helped reinforce defenses, guided by Captain Alara. They moved supplies, warned soldiers of approaching enemies, and even improvised simple weapons from everyday items. The aliens expected chaos and panic, but humans turned every disadvantage into strength. In one dramatic moment, a human engineer used a simple pulley system to drop massive rocks onto an advancing alien unit. The force of the impact crushed armor and sent aliens tumbling. Zarkon leaned forward, eyes wide. They think of everything. Every action is calculated. Every move counts," Creel swallowed nervously. "Sir, perhaps we underestimated them. Perhaps we should retreat and reassess." Zarkon's eyes blazed with anger. "Retreat? Never. We will not be humiliated by humans. Send reinforcements. Crush them." But even as he spoke, the aliens hesitated. Every tactic they tried failed. Human ingenuity, courage, and unity created an unpredictable battlefield that advanced technology alone could not control. On the ground, Captain Alara led her troops with unmatched courage. She moved swiftly through the chaos, placing herself in danger to inspire others. "Do not fall back. Fight for your homes. Fight for your families. We can win!" Her words carried across the battlefield, giving humans strength they didn't know they had. Soldiers fought harder, Civilians aided bravely, and even the wounded contributed. Every person became part of the human strategy, moving as one cohesive force. Zarkon's troops were falling faster than he could replenish them. Alien soldiers, accustomed to fear from other species, began to hesitate. Some froze in place, unsure of how to respond to human tactics. Others retreated prematurely, giving humans a psychological advantage. Focus on their leader. Zarkon roared. Destroy the humans' command structure and the rest will collapse. But humans had already anticipated this. Captain Alara was constantly moving, never in the same place twice. Even when aliens thought they were close, she slipped away, guiding her troops from safety while remaining fully in control. A small team of humans executed a daring maneuver. They approached an alien command unit, bypassing guards, and used simple yet clever sabotage to disable their communication systems. The aliens panicked, unable to coordinate effectively. Zarkon's frustration grew with every passing minute. For the first time in his career, Zarkon felt fear, not the immediate physical fear of battle, but the deeper, unsettling fear of being outmatched by a species he had considered inferior. These humans, they do not act like ordinary creatures. They are fearless, relentless, and unpredictable. How is this possible? A young human soldier, barely more than a boy, threw a simple device that exploded near an alien transport. The transport was destroyed along with its occupants. Zarkon froze in disbelief. He had faced warriors stronger, faster, and deadlier than humans, yet none had the courage to act so boldly under fire. They are fearless, Creel whispered. And they fight like beasts. Zarkon's mind raced. He had conquered countless planets, destroyed entire civilizations, and led armies that struck terror across galaxies. But these humans were different. Their determination, their creativity, and their willingness to face death with courage defied everything he had ever known. The first full day of battle ended with the aliens in retreat, scattered and demoralized. Humans had not only survived, they had gained the upper hand. The battlefield was littered with the wreckage of alien machinery, but human spirits remained unbroken. Soldiers tended to their wounded. Civilians helped rebuild barricades, and Captain Alara moved among them, offering words of encouragement. Zarkon retreated to the command deck, staring down at the planet below. He had faced great challenges before, yet never one like this. Humans were not merely surviving, they were thriving in impossible conditions. They fought with courage, thought with intelligence, and acted with unity. A single thought echoed in Zarkon's mind. What are these human beasts? He had come to conquer, to demonstrate his power, and to crush a primitive species. Instead, he had found himself in awe and fear of their bravery and skill. And deep down, he knew that the battle had only begun. The humans, tired but unbroken, prepared for the next wave. They had shown the galaxy and the alien general that even the smallest, seemingly weakest species could rise against impossible odds with courage, intelligence, and unity. Zarkon would not forget this day. The humans had proven themselves, and the galaxy would never look at them the same way again. The morning sun rose again over the scarred human cities. Smoke still hung in the air from the previous battles, but it no longer carried the scent of despair. It was the smell of determination. Captain Alara moved through the streets with her officers, inspecting defenses and coordinating strategies. Her presence gave confidence to every soldier and civilian she passed. "We need to fortify the outer districts," she said firmly. "The aliens will try again, and we cannot be caught off guard. Use every obstacle we have, roads, walls, rivers, anything that can slow them down." Soldiers nodded and spread out, improvising barricades from rubble, vehicles, and metal sheets. Farmers helped dig trenches, and engineers reinforced buildings with makeshift reinforcements. Every citizen had a role, every hand was needed. This was not just a fight for survival. It was a fight for their home. Above the planet, the alien fleet waited. General Zarkon paced the command deck of the Oblivion, his expression unreadable. He had faced humans before in small skirmishes, but never anything like this coordinated defense. Every attempt to predict human movements had failed. His troops were cautious now, hesitating where they would once have charged without question. "Sir," Creel said, breaking the tense silence, "the humans are not responding like other species. They are adapting. They anticipate our moves and counter them quickly. Perhaps they are even learning from us." Zarkon's eyes narrowed. "Learning?" he muttered. "They cannot. Humans are weak and simple. This is merely instinct, and yet it is working against us. On the ground, humans set traps across the battlefield. Explosives, tripwires, and pitfalls were placed in clever patterns. Soldiers moved silently, covering each other's advances. They used high ground to scout alien positions, relaying information quickly through simple but effective communication methods. Captain Alara stood atop a ruined building, binoculars in hand. She watched a group of alien soldiers attempting to flank the city's defenses. "Signal the East team," she commanded. "We'll draw them into the canyon trap. Remember, they rely on strength, but we rely on strategy." A team of humans moved quickly, making noise and creating an illusion of weakness. The aliens took the bait, charging toward what seemed like easy prey. When they entered the canyon, hidden humans triggered a series of simple machines. Rocks rolled, logs fell, and nets ensnared them. The aliens struggled, their armor making them clumsy in tight spaces. One by one, they were neutralized without a single human casualty. Zarkon watched this from the command deck, his hands tightening on the railing. "Impossible," he whispered. He had brought advanced weapons, elite soldiers, and powerful tactics, yet the humans turned even his best strategies against him. "They are clever," Creel said quietly. "Too clever, they are unpredictable." Zarkon turned, his glowing eyes blazing. "Unpredictable? No species is truly unpredictable. There must be a pattern, a flaw we can exploit." Below, humans continued their work. Civilians reinforced barricades. Engineers repaired damaged equipment, and soldiers shared supplies and ammunition. Every human seemed to understand the importance of unity. Even in exhaustion, they refused to give up. Captain Alara moved through a group of young soldiers, checking their positions. "Stay alert," she said. "The aliens may try to use heavy units next. Remember, they rely on their technology, but we rely on our brains and teamwork. We can outsmart them every time." Her voice was calm but commanding, a beacon of leadership. The soldiers nodded, inspired by her courage. One young man whispered to his friend, "We can do this. She believes in us, and that gives us strength." Meanwhile, Zarkon made a bold decision. He would take the battle personally. No more waiting, no more cautious attacks. If he led a strike himself, he could crush the humans' leaders and force them to surrender. His pride would not allow anything less. The alien general donned his battle armor, its dark plates glinting in the sunlight. Creel followed closely, wary of his commander's growing obsession. "Sir, perhaps we should proceed with caution. The humans are more formidable than expected." "Caution is weakness," Zarkon replied coldly. "I will show them true power. We will end this quickly." On the human side, Captain Alara prepared her own strategy. She knew Zarkon might come personally, and she was ready. Her plan was simple but effective. Use the terrain, the element of surprise, and human ingenuity to counter superior alien technology. "Listen carefully," she said to her officers. "If Zarkon himself comes, we do not fight him directly. We use everything we have learned to control the battlefield. Lure him into areas we can manage and strike at every weakness. His power is great, but his mind can be manipulated. Stay focused. Every move counts." The humans moved swiftly, setting traps and positioning themselves carefully. They had learned from the previous encounter, anticipating alien attacks and planning for every possibility. As the alien strike force descended, humans sprang their traps with precision. Alien vehicles were slowed by barricades and debris. Soldiers were ambushed from unexpected directions. Explosives, simple but clever, forced aliens into tight spaces where they could be neutralized. Zarkon advanced personally, towering over the battlefield in his massive armor. He expected fear, panic, and chaos. Instead, he found humans moving with confidence, even courage, in the face of his terrifying presence. Captain Alara observed from a hidden vantage point. She remained calm, directing her troops with clarity. "Wait for the right moment," she whispered. "Do not attack too early. Let them expose their weaknesses." The humans had created a battlefield designed to challenge even the most powerful alien leader. Narrow streets, hidden pitfalls, and well-placed barricades forced Zarkon's troops into disadvantageous positions. Even his superior strength and technology could not overcome the careful planning of humans united in purpose. Zarkon's first strike was powerful. His massive armor smashed through barricades and his weapons fired with deadly precision. But humans adapted quickly. They moved out of the way, redirected attacks, and exploited his slow movements in tight spaces. For the first time, Zarkon felt hesitation. He had faced powerful enemies before, but never one that could think, adapt, and act so quickly under pressure. Humans were not merely strong. They were intelligent, resourceful, and fearless. Creel watched his commander, worry etched across his face. "Sir, you hesitate. This is unusual." Zarkon's eyes narrowed. "Hesitation is not weakness," he growled. "It is calculation. I am calculating." But even as he spoke, a small group of humans executed a daring maneuver. Using ropes, pulleys, and simple mechanical devices, they toppled a structure onto a group of alien soldiers. The attack was precise, clever, and devastating. Zarkon froze, stunned by the ingenuity of these creatures. They are not ordinary," he muttered under his breath. "They are beasts." The aliens' morale began to falter. Soldiers who once fought without fear now hesitated. Commands were ignored and confusion spread through the ranks. Humans, sensing the hesitation, pressed their advantage. They did not merely survive. They thrived. Captain Ilara's strategy was simple yet brilliant. She avoided direct confrontation, used every human advantage, and exploited every alien weakness. Humans worked together seamlessly, communicating silently through hand signals and quick messages. Even in chaos, they moved as one unit, coordinated and focused. By the end of the day, the alien strike force had been forced to retreat. Zarkon returned to the Oblivion, his massive form looming over the command deck. His armor bore scratches, his pride was wounded, and his mind churned with an unfamiliar feeling: fear. He had underestimated humans. He had thought them weak, primitive, and easily defeated. He had been wrong. Every encounter, every trap, every act of courage had shown him something he could not ignore. Humans were not merely survivors. They were fighters, thinkers, and warriors in their own right. "They fight like beasts," Creel said quietly, breaking the tense silence. Zarkon did not respond immediately. He stared down at the planet, watching humans tend to their wounded, rebuild defenses, and prepare for the next wave. Their spirit was unbroken, their courage unwavering. For the first time, Zarkon understood that this battle would not be won by strength alone. Strategy, intelligence, and determination were just as powerful, perhaps even more so than advanced technology. And humans possessed all three in abundance. A thought echoed in his mind, chilling him even as it fascinated him. These humans, they are something the galaxy has never seen, and if we underestimate them again, we will fall. The humans, exhausted but undaunted, continued to fortify their positions. They had proven they could face the alien threat and survive. They had learned, adapted, and grown stronger from each encounter. Zarkon, watching them from above, clenched his fists. The battle was far from over, but the realization had settled deep within him. Humans were no ordinary species. They were cunning, resourceful, and fearless. They were not to be underestimated. And in that moment, the seeds of doubt took root in the mind of one of the galaxy's most feared generals. The human cities were quiet at dawn, a deceptive calm after days of fierce battles. Soldiers and civilians alike moved quietly, repairing damage, reinforcing barricades, and preparing for the next attack. Captain Ilara walked among them, her eyes scanning the horizon. "Stay alert," she instructed. "They will try something big. Be ready for anything." Above the planet, the alien fleet shifted. General Zarkon stood tall in the command room of the Oblivion, his massive armor reflecting the dim lights. His fingers tapped impatiently on the console as he watched reports from the ground. Humans had survived every tactic, every attack, and every trap he had set. Their courage, intelligence, and adaptability had become legendary in his mind. "They endure too much," Zarkon muttered. "They should have broken by now. Yet they resist. They fight like beasts. Unpredictable, relentless beasts." Creel, his ever-cautious lieutenant, approached. "Sir, perhaps it is time we reconsider our approach. The humans are extraordinary. Maybe a direct strike against them is too risky." Zarkon's glowing eyes narrowed. "No," he said firmly. "We cannot retreat. I will lead the next attack personally. The humans will see the true power of Zarkon. Their courage will be crushed before their eyes." He donned his battle armor, a towering exosuit equipped with the most advanced weapons in the alien arsenal. The armor thrummed with power, each movement amplified by machinery, giving him speed, strength, and protection far beyond that of ordinary aliens. Below, Captain Ilara had already anticipated this possibility. "If Zarkon himself comes, we cannot face him head-on," she told her officers. "We need to control the battlefield, lure him where we want him, use traps, terrain, and our strategy to counter his strength. Every move must be perfect. The humans moved swiftly, placing obstacles, fortifying buildings, and setting traps in narrow streets and alleys. Simple devices, pulleys, and hidden explosives were placed in ways that would guide the alien general into disadvantageous positions. Every detail was planned, every possibility considered. When Zarkon's massive strike force touched the ground, humans were ready. Small squads moved silently, taking positions behind walls, in trees, and on rooftops. They were calm, confident, and fearless. Zarkon's first steps were slow but deliberate. His armor thundered against the ground as he advanced. Alien soldiers behind him held their positions, awaiting his command. He expected chaos and panic from the humans, but found instead determination and unity. Captain Alara signaled her troops. "Hold your fire until the moment is right. Patience will be our greatest weapon." The humans waited as Zarkon approached, observing his movements, noting the pattern of his steps, the reach of his weapons, and the limits of his armor. Despite his size and power, the humans recognized his vulnerabilities. Narrow streets and tightly packed buildings would limit his mobility. Carefully positioned obstacles could slow him down, and clever coordinated attacks could exploit his blind spots. Zarkon smashed through the first barricade with ease. He fired his weapons, sending destruction across the streets. Humans dodged with skill, using cover and coordination. The more he destroyed, the more he underestimated the humans' ability to adapt. Then came the trap. A section of the street previously cleared suddenly collapsed under his weight. Massive logs and rocks fell from hidden structures above, forcing Zarkon to pause and adjust. The humans, hidden from sight, moved quickly, creating diversions and attacking from unexpected angles. Zarkon swung his massive arms, attempting to strike unseen enemies, but they were always one step ahead. They disappeared before he could reach them, striking again only when he was vulnerable. For the first time, Zarkon felt hesitation. He had fought countless battles, faced stronger and deadlier opponents, yet here were humans, weak, small, and yet unstoppable in their courage and coordination. They fight differently," he muttered, his voice trembling slightly. "They are beasts." Creel, watching closely, noticed the unusual pause in his commander's movements. "Sir, are you all right?" he asked nervously. Zarkon did not answer immediately. He focused on the humans before him. Their movements were swift, precise, and fearless. They worked together as one, anticipating each of his attacks. For the first time, he realized that sheer strength and advanced technology were not enough to win a battle. Strategy, intelligence, and unity could overcome even the most powerful armor. Captain Alara led a small squad in a daring maneuver. They lured Zarkon into a narrow alley where explosives, pulleys, and rocks had been carefully arranged. The trap worked perfectly. Zarkon's massive armor was slowed, restricted, and partially immobilized. Human soldiers struck from hidden positions, aiming for weak points in his armor. Zarkon roared in frustration. His attacks were precise, powerful, and overwhelming, yet every move seemed anticipated. Every strike he made was countered by human ingenuity. Even his massive strength was turned against him, as humans used levers, traps, and clever tactics to exploit his weight and momentum. "They are not afraid," he muttered, his glowing eyes narrowing. "They do not hesitate. They do not falter," Creel whispered, almost to himself. "They are extraordinary, sir. Unpredictable, relentless." Zarkon's mind raced. He had conquered countless worlds, defeated powerful enemies, and led armies feared across galaxies. Yet here were humans, showing a level of courage, creativity, and unity he had never imagined. Captain Alara signaled another squad. They moved silently, setting up a secondary trap. Hidden wires, small explosives, and timed mechanisms created a chain reaction. When Zarkon tried to advance, the trap triggered. Debris fell, smoke filled the air, and alien soldiers were forced to retreat. Zarkon stumbled, his massive armor straining against the obstacles. For the first time, he felt uncertainty. He had faced strong opponents before, yet none had made him hesitate in the middle of battle. The humans were not just clever, they were fearless, united, and willing to risk everything. "They are more than I expected," Zarkon admitted quietly, almost to himself. "They are beyond ordinary. They are beasts." The aliens' morale began to waver. Soldiers who once followed commands without question now hesitated. Fear spread like a virus, amplified by the humans' relentless attacks and clever traps. The humans had turned the battlefield into a place where technology and strength mattered less than courage, intelligence, and unity. Captain Alara moved through the chaos, guiding her troops with calm precision.
Do not falter!
Stay focused. Every move counts. We fight for our homes, our families, and our future. The humans' courage was contagious. Soldiers who had been unsure regained their confidence. Civilians aided wherever they could, moving supplies, reinforcing defenses, and warning of incoming attacks. Together, they created a force far greater than the sum of their parts. Zarkon, forced to retreat temporarily, observed the humans from a high vantage point. Even from above, he could see their determination, their unity, and their clever use of the terrain. The realization hit him hard. Humans were not ordinary creatures. They were more than warriors, they were thinkers, planners, and relentless survivors. A thought echoed in his mind, chilling yet fascinating. These humans, they are unlike anything the galaxy has seen. They are fearless, relentless, and clever. If we underestimate them again, we will fall. For the first time in his long career, Zarkon understood that victory could not be claimed through power alone. He needed strategy, patience, and perhaps even a new understanding of what it meant to fight. Humans were not just opponents. They were a force of nature, unpredictable and unstoppable in their courage and intelligence. The humans, exhausted but unbroken, continued to fortify their cities. They had faced one of the galaxy's most powerful generals and survived. They had adapted, learned, and grown stronger from each encounter. And Captain Alara knew this was only the beginning. Zarkon, standing among his retreating forces, clenched his fists. He had underestimated humans, and that mistake had cost him more than pride. It had shaken his understanding of strength itself. The battle had turned, not with a single strike, but with courage, intelligence, and unity. The humans had shown the galaxy and the alien general that even the smallest, seemingly weakest species could rise against impossible odds. And for Zarkon, one thought remained. These human beasts, they are not to be underestimated. The stage was set for the next confrontation, and the outcome was no longer certain. The humans had proven their worth, and Zarkon would have to face the truth. Strength alone could not defeat a species that fought with heart, mind, and courage. The sun had barely risen when Captain Alara stood atop a high ridge overlooking the city. The destruction from the previous battles was evident, yet it did not dampen the spirits of the humans below. Soldiers repaired barricades, civilians carried supplies, and engineers reinforced defenses. Every movement was purposeful, every action coordinated. Alara's eyes scanned the horizon where dark alien ships hovered in the distance. General Zarkon, the commander of the alien forces, had returned after a humiliating defeat. He had brought reinforcements, heavier units, and more advanced weapons. Yet Alara knew that raw strength alone would not win this battle. Humans had learned. They had adapted, and they would not yield. Prepare the teams, she ordered. We will anticipate their movements and counter before they strike. Remember, our strength is not in weapons alone. It is in unity, intelligence, and courage. Soldiers nodded and moved swiftly. Traps were reinforced, high ground secured, and lookouts positioned to watch every approach. Even the civilians contributed, carrying supplies, shoring up defenses, and offering warnings of incoming alien forces. Above, Zarkon stood aboard the Oblivion, studying the planet. Reports came in from scouts, showing that humans had rebuilt their defenses even faster than the previous day. Every mistake the aliens had exploited had been corrected. Every trap had been anticipated and countered. They are too resilient, Zarkon muttered, his glowing eyes narrowing. No species can endure this much and remain organized. Yet they do. They survive. They adapt. They strike back with precision. Creel approached cautiously. Sir, perhaps it is time to consider negotiation. They are formidable, and continued attacks may cost more than we anticipate. Zarkon's jaw tightened. Negotiate? Never. We will not bow to humans. They will bend or break under pressure. I will not be defeated by them. But even as he spoke, he felt an unfamiliar hesitation, a crack in his confidence. Humans had already survived attacks that would have destroyed other species. They had resisted advanced alien technology, outmaneuvered elite soldiers, and countered complex tactics with simplicity and precision. On the ground, humans moved like a single, living organism. Captain Alara directed her forces with calm authority. Focus on coordination, she said. Move as one. Cover each other. Exploit every advantage the terrain gives us. And remember, courage is as important as skill. A group of young soldiers moved into position behind a row of ruined buildings, preparing a simple but effective trap. Logs, rocks, and pulleys were arranged to create obstacles that would slow and confuse the advancing aliens. Explosives were hidden in debris, ready to trigger when the aliens entered the narrow streets. The first wave of Zarkon's troops descended. Massive armored units stomped through the city, firing energy weapons and attempting to break the human lines. But every move was anticipated. Humans had learned from previous encounters. They dodged attacks, redirected alien fire, and struck from unexpected angles. Captain Alara signaled another squad. They moved silently through the streets, attacking alien supply lines and sabotaging vehicles. The aliens were caught off guard, their movements slowed by traps and diversions. Even the most heavily armored unit struggled to advance. Zarkon's mind raced as he observed the battlefield. His advanced technology and superior strength were being nullified by simple but clever tactics. Humans were not merely surviving, they were thriving under pressure. They are extraordinary, he admitted quietly, almost to himself. They are fearless, clever, and united. I cannot predict their moves. I cannot crush them with power alone. Creel watched his commander with unease. Sir, it seems they are learning from our attacks. They anticipate our actions and respond quickly. Perhaps we are underestimating them. Zarkon's glowing eyes darkened. Underestimating? No. I have studied countless species. I have defeated warriors stronger and faster than humans. Yet none had their determination, their unity, their courage. On the battlefield, humans pressed their advantage. A coordinated attack targeted the alien supply routes, cutting off reinforcements and resources. Small squads moved behind enemy lines, setting traps and disabling machinery. Every strike was precise, every maneuver carefully planned. Captain Alara observed her forces with pride. They are learning, adapting, and improving, she said. We fight not only for survival, but for our future. And we will not fail. Zarkon, watching from above, felt a growing sense of fear, not for his life, but for his pride, his beliefs, and his understanding of strength. Humans had challenged everything he thought he knew about power. They had proven that intelligence, courage, and unity could rival advanced technology and raw force. He remembered the first encounter, when a small human squad had destroyed his scouts with simple devices. He remembered the traps, the ambushes, and the fearless soldiers. And he realized that humans were not just fighters, they were innovators, thinkers, and relentless survivors. They are unlike anything I have faced, Zarkon muttered. They are human beasts. Fierce, clever, and unstoppable. Creel swallowed nervously. Sir, perhaps we should reconsider our approach. We may not be able to defeat them by force alone. Zarkon turned, his armor humming with power. No, he said firmly. We cannot retreat. We must fight, but perhaps I have been too confident. Perhaps I have underestimated humans. This is a lesson. As the day progressed, humans continued to exploit every weakness in the alien advance. Traps slowed massive armored units. Ambushes neutralized elite soldiers, and civilians provided intelligence and support. The battlefield was a living testament to human ingenuity, courage, and unity. Captain Alara coordinated her forces with precision. Use the terrain. Control the streets. Strike where they least expect it, she commanded. Every move was calculated yet flexible. Humans adapted to changing conditions instantly, outsmarting the aliens at every turn. Zarkon's frustration grew. His troops were falling faster than he could replace them. Advanced weapons were neutralized by clever devices. Elite soldiers were trapped in simple, ingenious ambushes. And the humans? They did not fear him. They moved confidently, even boldly, in the face of overwhelming power. They are unstoppable, Zarkon admitted, a rare note of respect in his voice. They fight not with fear, but with courage. They think, adapt, and act together. This is extraordinary. The aliens' morale faltered. Soldiers who had once followed orders without question now hesitated. Confusion spread as humans outmaneuvered them at every turn. Zarkon realized that victory would not come through brute force. It would require understanding, strategy, and patience. Captain Alara moved her troops into a final position. A network of traps, obstacles, and ambush points had been carefully prepared. Humans were ready for the next wave, and they would strike with precision and courage. Zarkon, observing from above, felt a mixture of awe and fear. Humans were no ordinary species. They were clever, fearless, and united in a way that no alien army had ever encountered. Every battle had strengthened them, every trap had sharpened their instincts, and every act of courage had made them stronger. They are human beasts, he whispered again. Clever, fearless, and relentless. I must understand them, or be destroyed. The realization settled deep in Zarkon's mind. Humans were not just survivors. They were warriors, thinkers, and leaders in their own right. They had turned the battlefield into a place where courage, intelligence, and unity mattered more than strength and technology. As the sun set, the humans prepared for the next engagement. They had survived, adapted, and grown stronger, and Captain Alara knew that the final confrontation would determine the fate of their planet. Zarkon, retreating to the oblivion, could not shake the thought that humans had changed everything he believed about war and strength. They had proven that even the smallest, seemingly weakest species could rise against impossible odds, and for the first time, he knew that defeating humans would require more than power. It would require understanding, patience, and perhaps even respect. The stage was set for the ultimate confrontation. Humans had revealed their true strength, and Zarkon could no longer see them as mere prey. They were something greater, beasts in courage, intellect, and spirit. And if he was not careful, these human beasts could defeat even the mightiest alien forces.